Ready?
Yep.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Take these. I'll just leave them.
Yeah, leave them on. Joy Behar wore her glasses all week long. Hi, everybody!
Hi, Internet!
And we're Americans, and welcome to the Knights of the Drunk Watch. Today,
Cheeseburgers, right here.
That's right, and today we're talking about the Democratic debate. The first one.
So
First
this
of
is the
two.
first of many.
In two parts.
This is the first of many upcoming segments that we've decided to add to our channel as original content. So it's sort of reactions, but mostly it's reactions to our current political climate as we're leading to election 2020, which we all know is going to be a massive circus. And you can come here to the Knights of the Drunk Watch and get not only real information, but real normal people opinions, not crazy people opinions that you find on Facebook.
I will be crazy.
And
I'll be fucking nuts, sire.
I'm knocking futs.
and we're going to be covering tweets. We're going to be covering Twitter wars between the candidates. We're going to be covering all sorts of madness that is coming up. But for now, we are covering the Democratic debates 2020, which I think were fairly classy. They kept it classy.
Except for that
Hi.
one. We'll talk about it later.
All right, so I'm Audie.
I'm Andrew.
I'm Zach.
I'm Kate.
I'm Mark.
We're the Knights of the Drunk Watch.
And
And
now
now our
our talk
debate
begins. Our
begins.
debate begins. I like that.
I can't find my
I'm
straw.
probably just gonna be back here eating pizza.
That's fine.
Those are Mark's political views. I'm just going to be over here eating pizza.
Okay, so I'll be your moderator for tonight.
But don't
Thoroughly
mistake my
lubricated.
pizza for ignorance. I'm not ignorant. I just
Drink for ignorance.
I know news, as Audie says. Audie says I need.
I'm gonna
to
get him a
t-shirt
t-shirt.
that says I know news.
Okay, I'm getting my timer out because Kate has asked this to be a tight
Yep.
hour-long episode.
Okay, here we go.
So here we go. So first topic is...
And we are covering both nights.
No.
Yes, so Just
he
to
brought
rem-
little tea candles.
I don't know where the remote.
just to remind everybody who we're talking about as you hear a loud
This is
thud
on,
happening.
right?
Yep, it's on. So we have Elizabeth Warren, Beto O'Rourke,
Senor Beto.
Cory Booker, Julian Castro, Tulsi Gabbard. I don't have to do that. Tim Ryan, Jay Inslee, Amy Klobuchar, Bill de Blasio, John Delaney, Tim Ryan, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, Kirsten Gillibrand, not done yet, Michael Bennett, Marianne Williamson, Eric Swalwell, Andrew Yang, and John Hickenlooper.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
John Hickenhopper.
Look, I like Hickenlooper.
Okay, cool. All right, so these are our first
Wait,
section.
is it Hickenhopper or Hickenlooper?
Hickenlooper.
Our first.
I don't know. I was one on each night I have no memory of.
So
Which
our,
leads us into our first question.
so our first section
Will you
for our
offer my
debate,
looper?
and I will start the timer when I finish the questions, and then
Okay.
I'll go straight to Andrew because his mouth's full of food. Who's in and who's out? Which candidates helped their campaign? And go, Audie.
Help. Can we start with who needs to get cut? 'Cause I
Okay,
feel like
who
that's
needs to get
easier.
cut? Kate, go for it.
Delaney is out. His grinny little face needs to go.
Ooh, she's cutting Delaney.
And I think definitely the first night, the outer two, De Blasio needs to go too. He needs to run for governor. He is very New York focused. He can make that New York state, not just city, but he needs to go because I can't see him doing a whole country.
I don't want to interrupt you, but who the hell even let Andrew Yang in?
So you're
why
cutting
is he
Andrew
there?
Yang.
Yes.
Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my time.
I yield the floor to candidate
Are you
Thruthman.
finished?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Not you.
I mean, everyone else I kind of felt had some sort of stance, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But those two were just go by,
But Delaney, I think, is
oh my God, Delaney, what is he even doing there?
okay.
I had similar feelings about people on the second night. No, Andrew, I think
Andrew?
wanted to speak.
I'll go next. So I agree with Kate. The outside in was pretty well set up, I think, on the first night. Delaney, and this is the guy who I saw his name on the list. I still had no idea who he was. So
I still don't know who he is, and I have a list in front of me.
Inslee.
See,
That's a
so
name.
We're
That's a
going
name.
two more in. Inslee and Ryan, I feel were old white guys, but they had nice things
Delaney's
to say.
on here. Here he is.
Yeah.
Inslee had no memory of when someone said here's a list of people how the time they had. Then De Blasio, go home.
I don't feel like I'm
And
sorry.
then Tim Ryan.
Yeah.
Tim Ryan, who I get confused with the other Tim from last time.
Tim Kaine.
I feel
Kane.
like Amy,
His brother.
Amy didn't have a very good way of speaking either. Like she wasn't.
So I think Tim Ryan also just kind of wasn't exciting. So I think those
Okay.
4 guys. And then on the second night,
Oh,
well, first of all, they were yelling at each other all night long. I didn't know who was doing what. Well,
I
Andrew
would
Yang,
just-
I don't
real
know. Wait,
quick
I agree
for
with
Ryan,
Hottie. I
like-
don't get Yang. Go ahead.
For Ryan, before we move on, there was a point where I was like, oh, he's, he looks terrified, but he's doing okay. And then he said that China was wiping the world with us. And I was like, nope, he's gone. Bye. He's out.
That analogy does not fly.
That's not a phrase, so.
cut.
Andrew Yang's always been like, I don't understand what he's doing. And,
Well, we had 2 non-politicians on the second night.
Oh, and they
yes.
did a stellar
Andrew
job.
Yang, and then Michelle.
No,
Williamson.
Marianne Williamson.
Oh my gosh.
I also felt like she, just didn't have a political approach, and I just think you have to have a political approach to be president of the
Her
United States.
political approach is mother's love.
Yeah.
she's
Hey,
gonna,
it works for American Horror Story.
she's gonna
So-
harness
Every
love
single
for
thing.
political
That's
Does
purposes.
it?
vote for
That
Marianne
works
for Harry
Williamson, and we'll
Potter.
have the American Horror Story presidency.
Does it work for American Horror? Does it?
So yes, the second night was a little harder to follow, but in terms of some definitely being gone, Andrew Yang, I think he's there trying to get some issues up and running, but he's not going to be president of the United States.
So Andrew Yang was mostly. I request the floor.
Yep.
Andrew
I recognize the
Yang
young
was,
woman from Texas.
Andrew Yang was only there because of public support. So he's not being lobbied or any of that. He's
Right.
literally just a tech executive that was like, I'm going to do this.
Right.
I have no idea how. So he is, like you said, a one candidate voter. He is a one candidate. One issue candidate. All he cares about is giving $1,000 to every adult in the U.S. over the age of 18 by taxing Amazon. Which I understand that maybe the numbers work out, but that
a
is
weird
not.
stance.
It's literally like, I will pay you all $1,000 a month to vote me president. And
But to be fair, whether you understand, I don't fully understand it. He believes in this basic minimum wage, and that if you give every family $1,000 for every adult in the family, that will give them a base that they can, so they don't have to worry about putting food on the table. And, they can work, and they can participate in society.
that's exactly how communism
Yeah,
starts.
it seems like a redistribution of wealth without calling it that.
And
And
then-
even his title was former tech exec, so it
Yeah.
wasn't like he doesn't
And
have
also,
a
he
job
didn't.
right now.
He had
Unemployed?
no other stances. He didn't care about any other issue except this particular one. He didn't have anything on climate change. He didn't have anything on gun control. He was just a one-trick
He might
pony.
be a former tech executive.
And-
Okay, thank you. That is your time. Thank you.
Can we talk about Marianne Williamson being drunk though? Like she literally was
I'll give you
like
30
sounded.
I'll give you 30
Thank
seconds.
you. She literally sounded like she was
Chris.
drunk the entire time. And a lot of the notes I have for her is child issues New Zealand. What is she talking about? And
She said the word girlfriend up on that.
yeah,
Girlfriend.
but mostly harness the love for political purposes is what I
It's
took
like-
away from that.
Like girlfriend?
No.
Or like
Oh,
girlfriend?
I wrote that her campaign slogan is probably "Let's all work
second
together,
one.
guys."
Guy with 3 S's.
Guys.
Okay, that is your time.
Yes.
Let's go to the next question. Which candidate took the biggest hits last night
I
to their campaign?
Last night or both nights?
Both nights.
Biden for sure,
Okay, Biden.
because Kamala just ripped him apart.
Yeah, she went. What did I wrote? What
Cool.
did I write here?
Okay. Anybody else take a hit?
I personally feel, and I know you guys are probably going to disagree with me, so let's keep it civil. But I feel like Bernie took a hit last night.
I'm
I
gonna
don't
slash
think,
your tires now.
Jesus.
I just don't feel. I feel like he's running like. Oh, that's what I wrote for Camilla Harris. Oof, homegirl taking on Biden hard. I feel like Bernie Sanders felt like he was in the middle of a rally speech instead of a debate. He was just like, we can do this together, guys, and we've got to take down the corruption, and we got to do this, and we got to do that. He had no, consistent answers to what he didn't actually ever even answer the questions that they were putting to him. He would just
Okay.
turn to the camera and be like, but we can do it.
Well, but
And-
also, like, there's nothing new from him from this, like, last election to this election. Nothing feels like he has, like, a new approach.
But there's people like me who don't know that much about his campaign from last time.
Well, yeah, I
so-
mean, and that's fine, but I'm telling you, it doesn't feel like he has, in the last 4 years, changed his stances at all, and he just seems 4 years older, like, you know, and I know that we don't want to talk about that age thing, but, like, when we have so many young candidates, or younger candidates, he's run a couple times, and he hasn't done it, like, let someone else try. Zach.
Okay, so in defense of, not defense, but just on the record of Bernie Sanders, he has not changed his political stance in 40 years.
Right, and that's
he's saying the same
fine.
things, but he has been saying the same thing since the early.
Well,
late
see, I don't
70s.
know if
And
that's
I
what.
would say there's nothing wrong with that. He didn't win last time, and so now he's saying, you know, you didn't choose me, and look what happened. I'm here. I'm the same. Choose me. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
But I don't feel like the questions that they asked him, he gave specific answers to. And I have an example. Where was it? Oh, they asked him, how do you intend to make climate change a priority? And universal health care. How are we going to get universal health care? And his answer was by protesting like we did in the civil rights and women's rights era. That's not an answer. You need a specific
lot of his
plan.
answers weren't, you know, about policy. I think a lot of people, especially the second night, were taking advantage of this debate to really kind of rally a base around them rather than giving people answers.
Yeah.
And, you know, and on the one hand, we've got a lot of time to hear answers, and maybe just hearing you excited might get me to pay attention to you. On the other hand, it was a debate, you know, so...
Yeah, yes.
So I think, my opinion, but if I was to prep somebody on this debate and you have 25 candidates, my big thing is to brand yourself.
Exactly.
What is your? And I think that's what Bernie was trying to do by just repeating. Like, I stand for healthcare for all. So I think that was just him brand. So when you look at the long 25 list, you go, healthcare for all, lots of policies,
Yeah.
Medicaid.
attack
Medicaid
Joe
for
Biden,
all.
like Medicaid for. So you're able to brand each one, whereas someone like Hickenlooper, who you love, doesn't really have a brand.
But I also,
He may not have a brand, but he had I'm sorry, and I'll let you speak in just 1 second. He had very specific, he had a track record, which he rolled out of things that he has already done. And not like Joe Biden continuously saying this is what we've done. He also had a way of implementing what he's done in Colorado into the federal government, which was something that, again, I'm not a Democrat, so I haven't been following these candidates for a very long time. I was looking for them to tell me what are your policies that
Hickenlooper's
you are
never done
going to
anything
choose.
federally.
So no, what I'm saying is what he did in Colorado, he had examples of how he could transfer it into the
as
federal
opposed
government.
to De Blasio, who was just like, look what I did in New York.
Yeah.
Mic drop. It's
And-
like,
and
that's
Biden,
not
too.
anything.
But again, let me remind everybody, here's a quick civics lesson. Lots of governors have more absolute power in their individual states than the President of the United States will ever have. So it's really easy for a governor to say, I pass, ... It's really easy. It is easier for them to do that. A lot of governors have absolute power, whereas the president is limited.
The point is his plans worked, and now Colorado is one of the strongest economies in the United States.
And he addressed, we did it, so cool. But he also addressed, like, as opposed to De Blasio, who just mentioned how well he did in New York and didn't extrapolate out. Even if it's an imperfect plan, you want to know that the candidate is considering that it's different from state to country, but I have a plan for that.
So we've gone away from the
We are
question.
live, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you want to pay attention to
I'm
chat?
watching.
So, So who took the biggest hits last time? We said Biden.
Fritz.
Go ahead and do your list. 'cause
No, go ahead.
I-
I'm just recapping. Go ahead, Andrew.
Okay, because I didn't really look at last night as who took the biggest hits, but who got the best attention.
Okay, so that brings us to the last question of this topic: Who in the race this debate helped?
I think the person who helped the most, based on just what I've been listening to and what I know from it leaking through the big square thing in front of us from television, is Elizabeth Warren.
Yes.
Okay.
I think because finally everyone got to hear what she had to say from her, not through media outlets.
Right.
And when you got to hear her say how commuter college and where she came from in Oklahoma. You know, I just thought her, oh, she's in Massachusetts. She's, I don't know, Ivy
For
League
money,
or something.
yeah.
I'm like, oh no, she brought herself up.
Yeah.
So she should be able to connect to everybody, because I'm sure her opponents will say, oh, she's an elitist who is
An
not
insider,
connected.
yeah.
But no, she came from, she didn't come
Modest
from
beginnings.
the rich place in town and go to the rich college and then go
Her dad
do
was a
rich
mayor
job
in
in economics and then become a senator. She worked her way up.
I was also surprised to hear that, and again, this, I don't think this is fake news, but I think I was looking it up, and she really hasn't been in politics that long.
No,
I want to say
this is her
2011,
This
2012.
is her second term as a senator.
Okay.
She was an appointee in Obama's. No, she wasn't an appointee. She never got confirmed. But she did develop the. Oh, I'm gonna forget now. She developed the Bureau of Creditors Protections. So bank protection. She created that bureau that we have today.
I was really surprised because from what and this is just my uninformed impression from what I've.
We're all learning.
Yeah, from these, especially from the two powerful women in the running. So Harris and Warren.
Mm-hmm.
From what I had kind of interpreted from everything, or the impression that I got was that. Warren had more political backing and Harris had more passion. And from these debates, I learned that I feel like they are both equal on both of those levels. I think that they both have serious political chops, but also the ability to just cut straight to a real point and back it up with their political chops.
So just some facts
liked.
about Kamala Harris. She was a district attorney in California and also was the attorney general.
Yeah.
For years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, other than those two, which I completely agree with, I want to repeat. All these guys are official Democrats. I am not. So a lot of these candidates were.
I am not registered with the
Okay. Well, all of these candidates were mostly new to me, so I went into this with a completely open mind, and I relied entirely on what they were telling me. I had no previous knowledge. So personally, I really like Hickenlooper because again, I'm definitely more middle ground. I'm not with Bernie Sanders, who declares himself a democratic socialist. A lot of his ideals I don't agree with. But I really liked Hickenlooper. I liked his comment that you don't need big government to make changes, and that if Democrats go the straight socialism route, that they will lose the fight against Donald Trump because you won't even get medium lane people like me.
Yeah.
And then, so he kind of stood out for me. And then I feel like Pete Buttigieg kind of came up until now. Most of my information on him came from Andrew, and which I fully believed that he is, and from Zach. They both kind of said that he doesn't have a lot of actual policy, which I didn't get from him a lot during this debate. But what I did get from him was a sense of who he is and where he's coming from, which was incredibly relatable. He's from middle America. He knows about farmland. He knows how climate change affects farmland.
He's a veteran.
He's a veteran of the war in Iraq. He has a lot
homosexual.
of he's obviously supports gay marriage. I love the line that he said that I have a marriage that is only supported by one vote in the Supreme Court. So I was won over a little bit by Buttigieg out of all of them.
And I think that's an interesting stance because I am someone who would consider herself uninformed about these candidates, but also I have been paying attention enough to when something pops up on Facebook, so 80% of the candidates, so 16 of them I've heard, I know something about.
Right.
And so, but having someone who just knows nothing. I mean, that's what a lot of these debates are for, is reaching out to people who literally have no idea who any of these people are and are learning, which I forget.
I'm going in to vote for people based entirely on their political platforms and not their political party. So
let me just say personally for myself, I will be voting for any Democratic candidate in the general election. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're not going to lose my vote.
I will support
whoever you are.
Now, we're talking about the primaries, and I will fight in the primaries.
Well,
but
we're discussing strictly presidential.
But there are some people that are like, well, it depends on who it is. And I'm like, okay, let's get this. I want to go on the record for myself and say, whoever wins this candidacy, I will be voting for.
Okay.
Whoever wins the Democratic nomination for
I will
President
vote
of the United States is Gottsack's vote.
Hand down.
I'm gonna go and say that Biden, his sound bites still sound great, but like I know better. Like I don't.
Can we just call him Obama 2.0?
Not even
light,
like
only 1 calorie.
very light, but like
Obama zero.
he is all like. And maybe I'm biased from like all the shit that's been in the news
Are you
about him
biased on
recently.
Biden?
What? I'm biased on Biden. But like he is all sound bites, all fluff. He made a better meme than he would a president. Like that's just
Oh, drink for shade, everybody.
Very
Kate
well
just threw some
worded.
shade, but she's right. She's right.
I love Uncle Joe. He needs to sit down. Like that's just
I agree on only one thing with what's his name, Howell or whatever his name is.
Swalwell.
Swalwell. Pass the torch, buddy. Pass the torch.
Oh, he went hard.
On the torch?
Yeah. He just was like, that's the first thing.
The what?
The pass the torch.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that phrase.
Well,
but okay.
but I also, like, it was so fucking shady when he was like, oh yeah, 30 years ago, when I was a boy, someone came into my town and told us to pass the torch.
Well, but I
Biden.
think
Like, woof.
that made his point exactly, and the point that I was arguing a bit with Zach on Facebook is that it isn't saying you are too old. You've been doing this for 30 years. Been doing this for 30 years. It's time to step aside and let someone else have a go.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I liked about Swalwell. I know we're kind of going off topic here, but it's what I liked about the only thing that I liked about Swalwell, which was he was very millennial. He was very like, look, it's our turn. We are suffering the consequences of what's going on with our government right now fully. So our generation needs to be the one that makes a difference.
So I will say, I definitely, the reason why I disagree with that statement is because we have seen what inexperience can create.
You're assuming that youth means inexperience.
Trump is not youthful. He is inexperienced. Trump knows one industry. Sorta.
And that's
Wait,
not
let's
any
say
industry
he has been a part of one industry.
Yes.
How about we say that?
Yes. So I think the next candidate I want that experience because that person is going to have to know how to hit the ground running on day one. I don't want somebody in the White House who has to learn the ropes. Is my opinion.
Yeah.
So I would rather have. I'm not saying Biden. I'm saying someone more seasoned. I think this time around is more important because again, I want them to hit the ground running. We have a lot of.
In Swalwell, I don't know his background, but it's him saying that phrase is bugging you. What does he lack? I mean, is he like such a green senator with no other?
He's a representative.
No, I'm not.
California
It's nothing
representative.
against.
I mean-
It's nothing against
And
him.
an
It's just
ex-teacher.
that sentiment of, oh, your experience and you've been here for a long time. Give someone else a chance. And I'm like, well, they've been here for a while because they have. I mean, Bernie Sanders has passed the most legislation in the Senate ever.
But that's the thing is that's not the way to look at it. Someone in there who's above the age of 35 can still have plenty of experience in government. But what they're saying is, it's not that your experience is not useful. You haven't gotten it done. In 30 years, we're still fighting the same battles. Let someone else have a go at it.
I don't think it's that easy. Okay, we're moving on to the next topic.
But we haven't talked about everybody. I'm just gonna go.
So
Well, we have other things, don't we?
Gillibrand. We didn't talk about Bennett.
Because
and-
they weren't important.
I know.
I
I'm
like
just-
Gillibrand.
I'm just gonna mention people.
I want to say their names.
I feel like,
We're
hold
at
on.
30 seconds.
Gabbard is a little Stepford, so I'm over that.
I like Gillibrand's stance not only on Roe v.
Gillibrand.
Wade. Gillibrand, I'm
Gillibrand.
sorry. I like her stance not only on Roe v. Wade, but the bit that she said about who do you want behind the door arguing for female rights? Do you want a woman? And so I really like that she has passion, she has energy, and the way that she spoke was really concise.
Bad debating skills.
And no, I don't agree with that at all. And she didn't step down. Now, there's a big difference between her and Harris because Harris managed to get her sound bites in without yelling over everybody else.
Yeah.
But Gillibrand, she fought for being able to speak. She fought for herself. And I also like that she wrote part of Bill Sanders, Bernie Sanders' bill that brings Medicare for all and universal health care together. So you have buy-in for you have an insurance that you buy into leading to single payer. And I really like that. I thought it was like a nice compromise between Medicare for all and insurance policies.
Okay, last remarks. We go to the next section.
Two more people that I feel like we've completely overlooked from the first night are Cory Booker and Julian Castro. And I feel like for both of them, I saw ads on my Facebook that were like, we might not be able to make the next debate if we don't get, because it's all done on
Donations and
Donations.
polls.
I would give both of those candidates $1 to be another debate to hear more from them. I feel like for those two people, like I find them interesting and unique enough that I would donate money to their campaigns just so they could be in another debate.
We're gonna. That's actually in the third section.
And last thing that we didn't talk about was Spanish Gate and Beto. Like, we haven't even talked about
I feel
Beto,
like
so
that's-
that should tell you kind of where he's standing right now.
All right.
Okay, next section. We're gonna have 10 minutes for this section because we're running late. So we're going to the moderation questions. First question is, how are the quality of the questions? Do you think they were fair to each of the candidates? We have 10 minutes to go to the section and go.
I would be curious, and of course, this isn't a perfect, like, we're never going to get this world, but I would really honestly be curious to see how the debates would go if the candidates trusted that they would get their fair time. Not on every subject, but every candidate would get their fair time, so they didn't feel the need to cut in.
It did
And
feel a lot like the Oscars acceptance speeches. It was like, let's get it out as quickly as possible.
Well, but not only that, like, if they actually didn't have to, like, cut in, and so then the people who were up front are getting more time or whatever in the middle are cutting in more because they have better, if we actually got even fair information and time with each candidate, I would like to see that.
Because it doesn't help us as viewers for you to cut their time. Even if I have to watch 3 hours worth instead of 2 hours, at least I'm getting the information that I need
Most
instead of
people don't
everybody
feel
yelling
that
over
way.
each other. I guess.
Well, I don't think it's. I mean, they have 2 hours for the debate. They have 2 hours for the debate. The election isn't tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So,
fair. And you can still get,
know.
I mean, there's more debates coming and all of that.
I am waiting for the day when the clouds part and heaven comes down on us and these adults can actually fucking understand that they get to talk for 60 seconds and then they have to stop talking.
Well,
Like,
one person who
the
did
teacher
that
and her-
consistently, say what we want to say about him.
Joe
Joe Biden. Out of time. Hey,
Yeah.
shut up.
That's
Yeah.
true. He's well trained.
I thought Kamala Harris did a really good job of, like, pushing the boundary,
That's her
but not so
prosecutor.
far.
That's the prosecutor.
Yeah.
in
Not
there.
as far
Yeah.
as like getting, annoying. And Buttigieg did a good job. He stayed within time.
I have a deep respect for the people who are following the expectations. And
Yeah.
that is, I mean, that probably is the teacher,
Teacher.
inside of me. But,
Yeah.
it's like, it's
but I
not
agree
that
with that.
hard. And also, that should be something you are practicing.
That's
so
true.
You should know exactly what you can
One
say
more
in
minute
30
for this
seconds,
question.
what you can say in 60 seconds.
Well,
Um,
like, if you listen to some of them talk and then they start trying to talk and then they feel everyone's talking over them, so then they pause and they repeat themselves like 3 times. Like, you've just wasted all of your 30 seconds by repeating yourself.
I want to talk a little bit more than just time. I think that they were they gave them good questions specific on policies that interest us all, so they did cover a wide range of topics.
Well,
and then they did really specific questions to each person
Yes.
And they
as
challenged
well.
them on things that they
And
said
that
in
was the other
past.
thing is they were not taking any crap on sticking to the subject as well. If a candidate kind of fluffed their way through the conversation, the person would be like, "I'm giving you another 10 seconds to answer the
Yeah.
question."
Like, I know you
Never
asked me
do.
about Medicare.
I just
but
did
let me
Trump
talk about
hands.
the magical unicorn.
Right.
And
I want to talk about love.
In the first night, I think they did a lot better of a
Mother's
job
love.
of, like, the candidates did a better job of doing the transition to, this is your question and here's my talking point. They transitioned a lot better, or maybe cleaner or more efficiently, to still bullshit and not answer the questions, where the other people were like, you ask me a question and I'm going to answer this one, though.
Okay, we're out of time for that question. Let's evaluate the moderators.
People give moderators shit, but it's hard to, like, control 10 full adults. Like, I don't
Yeah.
I feel like things were very mild. Nothing bad
my
happened.
impression about the whole the setup is that I think they could have gotten rid of a moderator.
Yeah, there was too
Because
many.
when they had the 3 of them, and then they went down to the 2, I felt like they made the having 3, and I know why they had the guy from Telemundo there, because they were broadcasting on his station,
Yeah.
and they're trying to diversify.
It's not why they were speaking in Spanish.
Yes.
That's why
And
Beto got all
definitely
crazy.
tried
all-
to diversify the field covering this and challenging these people. So I think they could have dumped either Savannah, who I like, so I would like her stay. Or Lester Holt. I mean, there was just we didn't need both of them.
Yeah.
Lester Holt is America's most trusted broadcaster.
I'm not
according
saying
to the
I'm
channel
not,
that
I'm
it was
not saying
on.
he's
So-
bad. I'm just saying we didn't need both of them.
I would like-
I watch
That-
Savannah in the
he's the
morning.
one that
I don't
no
watch
one-
One at a
Lester
time,
night.
please. One person at a time.
I would
please.
like to thank you. I would like to add one more thing, and that is that somebody needs to call me stat about whoever was doing the makeup for all of these, not only candidates, but also all of these moderators, because that shit was atrocious.
Oh, I really
and whatever
like
they
Rachel
did
Maddow.
Rachel was the pinnacle. Whatever they did to Lester was an atrocity.
Rachel always looks really
But
good.
did you see Lester's jaundice levels of pancake foundation?
Marianne
So bad.
Williamson looked great. She had lashes on, coiffed hair. and
Kamala
she's an
Harris
author.
looked amazing
she
as
always
well.
looks
But all those men in the second night went to a threading party.
I'm telling you.
What do you mean a threading party?
They had perfect
They-
eyebrows.
They-
overly perfect
They
eyebrows.
do. That's part of the prep. Is you go to a groom. It really is. You go to
Waxing.
a groomer and you get colored.
Well,
you get.
and as my mom pointed out, could someone not have just like powdered Beto a little bit? He looked like he was gonna. I mean,
He was wearing no makeup.
Maybe it was because he looked like he was gonna vomit the whole time, and there's not a lot that you can do for that. But there's a little you can do for
was
that.
he shiny?
No,
He was not wearing any makeup. I think, in my expert opinion, he
If you're
either had the
gonna be
least
under lights,
amount.
You need powder at least.
Yeah.
Because
He had nothing on.
You're under the lights, it gets so sweaty, like you just start coming off shiny.
Everybody else had makeup.
We have
except
tricks
Beto.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you either like no
You
one
at
gets
least
to
need
wear
some
makeup
powder.
or everyone needs to have to wear makeup.
Hairspray your
'cause-
fucking face or something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It works in a pinch.
That's drying.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to move on. So what? We have,
Beto's out. I'm just over him.
okay.
Rubber
What
band.
question?
That's millennials for you. We like something for 5
Well,
seconds and then
no,
we're done.
he was a really good candidate against Ted Cruz against
Yeah,
these other 19
not for president.
people.
Not yet.
Nah, he looks
Yeah.
rough.
Well, if we're gonna
Think
talk
he
about
should stick
Beto-
to just trying
No,
to
we
be a
didn't.
governor.
Well, I don't think.
If
I
we're
don't think.
going to talk about Beto,
Yeah, let's talk about him. For
30
a second.
seconds. 30
I
seconds.
think, or 30 seconds. I think Beto is perfectly positioned to be someone's VP candidate.
Yes.
Maybe not the VP candidate.
VP.
But I think he's definitely, he had a great Senate race, brought a lot of attention to Texas, and that we're not all just red cowboy bumpkins. And I think he has a lot to say and a lot to learn
Yeah.
as a vice president.
I think going into these debates, he was the hottest, like quote unquote hottest coming off the heat from that race, like candidate that we have, and I think
He's
that
pretty sexy too. so.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
pretty sexy too, but like I think he had the most heat on him, and I think that just fell through the floor.
And I want to add just last 10 seconds,
seconds.
is he said specifically
Do you
he
think
didn't
he'd
want to
go to
run,
race
and I
in
think
a
that he
couple
got
more
pressured
years?
into running this time because of the momentum that he had built,
shouldn't
and
have.
he wasn't ready, and he didn't want to, and it reads in his face.
But most important, I think that whoever is running for president, their VP should be someone we know who the fuck they are when they show up.
Yeah.
Not Tim
And
Kaine.
He would be
All
one
right.
of those people.
Next question. What questions would you like to hear last night? What was missing from the questions? Go.
Oh, that's a tough
they were
one.
super comprehensive.
You know, my answer to that isn't what questions are missing, but we gotta get the answers as they were asked. I mean, like, give me two words.
oh,
blah blah blah
those
blah blah blah.
fucking
2 words.
children.
No, 2 words.
Especially, like, I understand, like, when you're like, 2 words, what would you do? That's hard. But tell me what country you would reach out to first. They are literally asking you for a motherfucking country.
Name a
not a
country.
sentence,
NATO,
not a paragraph.
And NATO's not a country.
Well, let me start by
UN is not
telling
a
you what
country.
Donald Trump has done.
Right.
Now let me
I,
tell you how I would go in the opposite direction of that.
Well, coming from, again, the background that I have and my political stances, I would like to have heard more on how they're going to work bipartisanly. I feel like there wasn't enough questions on bipartisanship and on uniting the political climate of America. It was still very like, what is your stance on this, on this, on this, and very firm. Now, some of them did give answers that were bipartisan, but nobody, like the people that are way on the left, it seemed like they had very little intention to work bipartisanly, and I don't think that's going to work, so I would have liked to hear more about their bipartisanship.
I think this was, going back to Game of Thrones, I think this is a roll call. Who's still in it? Like,
Who's
we
still
have?
alive?
And so once we
survived the battle?
Yeah, once we do the next roll call at the next debate, they'll start asking them more like, this was just like, who the fuck are you?
Right.
And so once we know that, then they can start being like, all right, how does everyone feel? Once they don't have to ask the question 20 times, they can ask everyone tell me how you feel about this. Everyone tell me what you do about this.
This would have been a super cringy question, but I think it's an important question that every Democrat has asked themselves or should ask themselves is what did you learn from the Clinton campaign in 2016?
Right. That's very
Super
important.
cringy.
That's very
No one
important.
wants to ask it.
When they have the tweet your questions, you gotta tweet that
Yeah.
shit.
But-
Okay, I will tweet
From
that.
Knights of the
From
Drop
Knights
Watch.
of the Drop Watch, please.
People have already been talking about that answer, though.
Okay, good.
The answer
Good.
is to not forget the middle.
Yeah.
She didn't
This
go
guy.
to places. Not middle. Not middle.
Middle
political,
Earth.
Middle country.
Middle Earth.
Oh.
Not middle of the country. She
Right.
didn't go to places that
Michigan,
she thought were locked
Ohio,
up.
Illinois.
Yeah.
So she didn't go talk to those people. And then those people were like, "You didn't come talk to me."
But
and
Trump did.
He's like fresh and shiny and different.
Trump
so
spent the
maybe I'll
whole
vote for
week
him.
there.
Yeah.
Trump spent a whole week there. Okay, moving on to the next section. I'm going to give us 15 minutes to do this section, and then we'll be wrapping up in the final remarks. 15 seconds for this one. Here we go. The question is, the next debate is scheduled for July 30th. What needs to change? So, what qualifying factors, who should be invited, what should be the qualifications, and what is the max number of candidates we want to see at these debates?
Sorry, I'm going backwards, but kind
Go
of
ahead.
going forwards. So one thing that I remember them doing in, maybe it was a Cruz Beto debate, where they were really on top of the audience not responding, to the point where, remember that moderator woman like whipped around and gave her teacher stank eye at the
My
audience?
favorite moment of the
Yes,
2016 election.
it was so good. and so these moderators did not like give any expectations for the crowd or talk about it at all. Because that takes up time. Anytime someone talks,
I mean, they talked
They
about
did.
the beginning.
No, they did tell them, and then at the end, Rachel Maddow was like, "Thanks for ignoring our
yeah,
stuff."
but it was
wasn't distracting to me.
no, it's not distracting. It's that when we have 20 people to talk to in 4 hours, anytime someone
That's true.
whoops, that takes up 3 seconds. That
Adds
if they're
up.
gonna
It
have
adds up.
3
3
seconds.
seconds.
I guess my
They
question
add
is, why
up.
have an audience at all?
Why have an audience for? I mean,
Yeah, I
So
agree
that
with
you
you.
can
I
have
agree
them
with you.
applaud.
But the
whenever
point
they
is,
make
we're
a good
telling them
point.
not to.
I agree
So
with you.
just throw in
No,
some
it's not
applause,
that-
canned
they're
applause
not
at
being
the
told
end.
to sit there quietly and make no noise. They just can't just like go into this huge giant fucking ovation because the one candidate that they want to, And so I mean,
they
that's-
do ask them not to respond at some of the
They did in
debates.
this one as well. They said,
Yeah,
"Do
no,
not
but-
They
but
said
respond."
it
I
as a
don't
joke.
think not. I think they said watch their response. They didn't want it to get out of control.
They're allowing polite applause, but
I'm-
not.
I just don't see a reason to even have it. Like, I don't
Well, it
see
gives
why.
a different energy. I mean, it's the same thing of why do live theater instead of movies and TV. Like, there's a different energy.
Whoa, whoa,
Or-
whoa,
When you're
whoa.
actually, hang on, when
or
you're actually
You are
speaking
treading
to
on my
people,
territory.
and I'm making a point that y'all can fucking understand.
And I'm right there with you, Kate. Finish.
when you are trying to speak to your delegates and your people, like, it's hard to do that just into a camera, but when there were actual people giving you, even if it's silent energy, there's an energy in the room that they can feel and respond to.
Or think about those televised live musicals.
Yeah. Oh.
When there was no one in that studio, Sound of Music, it was horrible. And as soon as
Fair
they put
enough.
an audience in there that could watch them and follow them around, Hairspray, it was much, much better.
I think that what I would like to see, I'm gonna get some hate here, but there's
never-
a couple of things that I'd like to see. I'd like to see less moderators next time,
Okay.
and I think that it's not good again for bipartisanship and middle ground people like me that you don't have at least one Fox News person there. I think you should have one Fox News person as the moderator.
Why doesn't Fox News hold their own debate?
Because you need somebody that's going, and I don't mean necessarily Fox News, but somebody who is more right-leaning, because I feel like you're going to get tougher questions. And
Well, but, Adi, just on that point, that's a different debate.
Yeah.
Because this was basically the NBC family. Everyone who was on that stage was a member of the NBC family.
Okay.
Including
MSNBC or NBC,
Telemundo, I
yeah.
believe.
Okay.
It was the overall. So it's like NBC stood up and said, we're going to have a debate, and
Mm-hmm.
Telemundo is our partner, not just another station.
right.
And so they didn't invite CBS, they didn't invite CNN, they
ABC.
didn't
Right.
invite Fox.
Well,
That's
he
what
was
I'm saying,
asking
if
me
Fox-
what I would like to see
Well,
next
I mean,
time,
Fox
not what I would
News
have
can
liked
Well,
to
hold-
see
and Fox
next
should
time.
have its own debate, and all those candidates who said they wouldn't go to it, they need to shut up and go
Yeah.
talk to those people.
I mean, if you want to defeat Donald Trump, you got to convince people that are on the other side. I'm sorry, you just have to at least have to try.
Or compel the non-voting, like, middle
Yeah.
to vote.
So that's what I would like to see. I'd like to see less moderators, and I'd like to see a little more. I mean, obviously, again, this was the first set of debates, but I'd like to see a little more cutting questions. Like, there wasn't enough specifics. Everybody's like, I'm going to change this, and I have a plan to do this. And I'm like, great, what's the fucking plan?
I would say with 20 people to speak to over 2
yeah, no,
nights,
agreed.
You don't have time for that.
Agreed.
I would like to see that this field cut down by at least half.
Yeah, for sure.
Before the next debate. And not to where they just say we're going to do 10, because we're only going to do one night.
No, I would do 5 and 5.
Yeah, or no, and so that they decide who gets cut. We need people to drop out.
Yes.
We need people to say that I've said what I wanted to say.
Looking at you, Andrew Yang.
I brought
Williamson,
attention to what I brought attention
Delaney,
to, and now I'm going to step
Blasio,
back and let someone who's going to
Bennett.
win go for it.
I don't think that. I think we're going to add people.
Fuck. Well,
No, I do.
There were
People-
3 people
Yeah.
who are candidates right now who didn't make the debate because of the donation cutoff.
Yeah.
There are currently
Was
23.
it donations or polling?
It's polling.
It
You
was
have to
both.
poll. You have to poll at least 1% and raise
between 3 different
6,000
ones.
individual
That was 65.
donors. 65.
Oh, that's how Andrew Yang got in
Yeah.
It
there.
was 60,000.
He got all
I
his
think it was
rich
60,000
folks to-
donors, and you had to raise more than 600,000.
It was like, yeah, I think it was like 65,000.
Something like that.
Yeah, well,
You
Klobuchar
need
got all her
donors.
boyfriends. Was it Klobuchar who did that?
Yeah.
Got all her boyfriends to donate.
What?
Shade.
Okay.
One of them, and she makes a point.
So
of it.
okay, we're talking about the donations. Then what should
Her
be the
ex-boyfriend.
what should be the qualifiers to be in the debate? What
we-
should it be?
I can't answer that question. Next.
I know. I'm sorry. Well, let's just think about it for a little bit.
Max number? Is that the question?
I mean,
No,
I would
what
say.
should qualify people to be in the debate? What qualifies?
I think maybe like stricter polling numbers. I
Okay.
don't know who that would cut out, but I don't know how I feel about it being based on like individual donors.
Well, I think the individual
Although that shows their
donations.
support.
Yeah, if you get, because it's not about the amount of money necessarily, it's about the amount of supporters. So I
your
think that's
dollar
what should
donation
change.
will be helpful. 'cause
Yeah,
you'll-
so that's what I think
Yeah.
should change is not the amount of money they've raised, but how many
But
people
that's-
have given them
what
money.
It was, and that's what like and so it's also interesting because like Castor like had like answer all these questions, and then you get to the point where like, can you donate $10 so that I can be in the next debate? Whereas Cory Booker, his ad on Facebook was like, if you donate $1, I can be in the next debate maybe. So can you just $1 and I'll talk more. And so like that's
Give me $1.
that's a more for me compelling argument of like I just need you to show interest.
And I have something that I would like to add. I would like when each candidate speaks, especially on specific issues, I would like their voting record lined up at the bottom.
You want a
How did
ticker?
they vote? Yeah, how did they vote on these particular issues? Because you could be spouting all sorts of lies to me, and then you voted
be-
against or
okay.
for
I'm not
something.
like
I
that.
would fucking
What
love a
voting
ticker
record are you
tape.
talking about?
What do you mean?
What voting record?
So, like their voting record, if
they're
for
a
example, if they're a
senator-
senator or if they're a
On the
congressman,
subject of the
and
question.
things
If
like
they're an
that.
author.
Well, I mean, I don't care about her. She's
well,
terrible.
but then it's
But-
not. But that thing is, you're asking for
Oh!
something that can't be.
Okay,
done
let's change this.
through all.
Let's change it that way then. How about a fact checker at the bottom? Give me a fact checking ticket tape at the
We
bottom.
need a big team with lots of computers.
Because one of the ones, now mind you, I was following CNN's fact checking as they were doing it, and like one of the big ones was, I think it was Bennett said that 1% of America holds 90% of the wealth, and CNN was like, nah, bitch, it's 36%. So I found that really interesting. It's actually 1% holds 36% of the wealth in the United States.
Still a lot.
Still a lot, but what I'm saying,
That's
it's
still
not
a lot
90.
more wealth than any of us have.
So I think the next debate's by ABC. I think I said. I don't remember. I think if it's up to them, I would say I want the top 10. And I want.
And I would
So
like
you-
5 and 5. Not all
was
10
your
on the
question?
stage.
You want a number cutoff.
I
not
want a
just
number
who
cutoff.
can get over
Top
this
10.
threshold.
The top 10 polling winners get to be in the debate. Full stop. They have a month to do it. Get it done. That's what I think. Because it's
I mean,
hard.
you've already shown us who you are. You just need
With 5 and 5, you really get a chance to hear what they're gonna say, and you get a chance to press.
But
and you
this
get a chance
isn't the
for
final
rebuttal.
But I
debate,
also-
right? Before
No,
primaries?
But no, we have like 6 more months. I don't want to go through 20 more people. What is the point? I don't need to hear Marianne Williamson talk about mother's love again.
Well, I don't, but I also don't want to like.
But she's wasting time that we could be pressing Cory Booker
Yeah.
on issues. She's
I feel
wasting
like
time.
grassroots movements would be killed by that, though. Like, I'm a big supporter of grassroots movements.
Not if you guys if they participate in the polls. But we can't.
Well, yeah, but let's say somebody's like 0.1% below the other person, and you have a cutoff of 10. That's not okay, because that could change in the next 2 hours from the moment
right,
that you
and then
take your.
the next debate will have their
total.
own qualifications. But we don't have time to listen to 24 people for the next 6 months.
It can't grow. Yeah.
We're not going to get any information other than Medicare for all. They're coming and take my guns. Lock her up.
Yeah,
That's
they're
all we're going to
all
get.
saying that.
But the emails.
But the do we think it would be, and this is just a stupid question, but do we think it'd be more interesting if we're doing another 2-night debate situation? Do we think 5 and 5 would be good, or all 10?
5 and 5.
5 and 5.
Because you get
seems
time.
better.
You get time to rebut. You get time. I'm going to call you out on your bullshit, and then you get time to call
But
me
I like
out.
having
Well,
the
here-
whole.
here's
Hang on,
well,
I'm still making my point. I think that there is also a weird dynamic of having two different pools, two different pools that we're getting information from. Having the whole field out there, you get them all bouncing off of each other, as opposed to, you're never gonna see Booker and Biden talk to each other because they're never on the same night.
Well, what if
And
you mix it up from what we got here this time? And of course, like you said, there's more debates upcoming.
Yeah.
In which they can mix them up and have different people debate against each other. But in the end, they're all just presenting their opinions. You can make your own chart
Yeah,
and
right
figure
now,
out
this,
what
this
I
was
agree
just
with
like
them.
get your slogan out there.
Yeah, this is
Right.
roll call.
That's-
And all we got out of it was I will harness the
and
power
if
of
you're
love
someone
for
like
political
if you like
power.
someone like Adi who has no idea who any of you are, that's not helping you narrow down your.
Right.
Especially if you like Hickenlooper, but when you see him in the next debate and he pressing and pressing, he's folding like a fucking napkin.
Yeah.
That's not. I don't like. Now I'm starting to see where the weakness is because once you get into general, Trump is gonna fold you like a fucking napkin. So that
Y'all best
person,
put your big girl and boy panties
that
on.
person needs to be able to
gonna
actually
be scary.
hold themselves
Make sure to pack my brown
accountable
pants.
and be able to hold their ground and not
I just
be goaded by him. That's the part of the problem. Is
I just
people are goaded by him.
only slightly want to see Williamson in a debate with Donald Trump.
Do it on your own time.
I just want to see that happen. Can somebody just make
No,
that
I
happen?
won't be
That's
there.
all.
A quick fact check
That
for
could be
Audi.
on the Hallmark channel.
The statistics that maybe was it who was lying or who was
I think it was
mistaken?
Bennett. I don't know. They said
Anyway,
CNN is the
part
one
of the
who-
issue may
lifetime
have
debate.
been
Yeah.
is that, and granted this article is not the most recent, but that the concept that he may have been trying to espouse was that the top 1% holds more wealth than the bottom 90%.
Oh, and he just
So-
said it wrong.
And
Words
as
happened.
opposed to the stats that in the same article they reference 1% of American households own 40% of the wealth, and then the top 1% owns more than the bottom 90%.
Yeah.
Okay, this was on
So,
Twitter. CNN was sending
yeah.
out fact checks, and
Which is important. Especially when we get to the general.
that's what I just want. Personally, I would like more as we move forward into the debates. I would like to know more real facts as
I think-
opposed to the
and-
things that they are speaking
And I
to
think
me.
we're gonna get that because I seem to remember in the last presidential election they did some of that of real time fact checking what
Mm-hmm.
people were saying
Mhm.
in at least one of the debates, and I
Yeah.
don't remember which one that
But
was.
see, I would
And
like
so-
that thrown back at them in the
Yeah,
moment
fact
as
check
well.
it,
Fact check it and then come back
you
to
said
it.
5 minutes ago.
But then you would have to get him
I
down
feel
to
like
5
one
and
of
5.
the debates had
You did that?
Yeah.
For sure, for 5 and 5, because that would be amazing to me. Not
Plenty of
only
time.
exciting to watch, but it
Even
would
if it's
also
after
be
the hour break, we
Yeah.
come back and then we're gonna come. You said some
because we're
false
trying
things.
not to lie to the American people
Again.
Yeah.
Again. If that's what you want to run, Democrats, if you want to run on a platform of being
that's
against
not gonna-
Donald Trump,
Democrats
then we
don't-
need
that
your
doesn't
truth.
look good. That
I'm
doesn't
also
look good.
super
We don't like
curious
that.
to
I
know.
don't like that.
I haven't paid any attention, and maybe there isn't one, but any other Republican candidates?
There's
There's whispers.
Really?
There's
Yeah, I
a
mean,
lot
I'm,
of-
because
I'm
the-
curious
the
for those
president
debates because he
isn't-
can't
isn't
just get in.
de facto
no,
nominee.
no.
So I want to know who's going to run against him.
And in fact-
I'm almost more interested in that.
If
because,
somebody runs
like you
against
said,
him, I promise you
And
here, I will vote for that
even
Republican.
if-
yeah, in
well,
the primary.
even
primary.
if the Republican Party doesn't allow them in, because that's also possible. They could still run as a third-party candidate. Like if Mitt Romney.
But see, then that would be amazing because the same thing that would happen to the Democrats would happen this time. Whatever the other Republican would be would take away votes for Donald Trump, and things would balance out.
I think it would be dumb on the Republicans' part to just
Get off this ship, guys. You are not doing your party any favors.
I will vote for Mitt Romney.
Get off the pot.
But
I will literally vote.
Lifeboats.
I will vote for George W. Bush's dog.
I know a lot of people who
I
in the
heard that's
primaries,
a really good dog.
It's a good dog.
in the primaries vote Republican. Like a bunch of Democrats who in the primaries vote Republican just to like vote for
the worst person ever.
yeah,
And we
like
got Trump.
whoever who can beat the person who's gonna beat the Democrat, which is
Right.
fucked up, but also it's a strategy.
Well,
Okay.
that is also
I'm sure
part of
there's
the
like
reason why you
a-
can only vote in one primary.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm sure
If
there's
you
a
take it-
side
you-
on
you
the
wanna
other
do
side
that,
that's
then
doing the
that's what
same
you're
thing.
voting.
So
All right, so I have a quick question, and then we're going to do closing remarks for tonight. I want everyone's top 3 going into Super Tuesday, which is
Okay.
March 2020. Who is going to make it top 3
I
making
can't
it
do
to
3.
Super
I could
Tuesday?
do 5.
can we do 5 since that's a
Considering
number?
that we have 10 candidates, let's do top
Okay, top 16. Here we go.
top 5. Top 5.
Adi-
I think top 5's good.
Andrew,
out of
go.
20.
Top 5.
Elizabeth Warren. I definitely want to. I actually want to see more from Kamala Harris.
It's okay.
You know, I mean, I think Biden should still be up there, even though he may continue to put his foot in his mouth. And Buttigieg. And a 5th one. I didn't hear enough from Cory Booker. I'd like to hear more from him.
Okay. Adi?
Well, first I'd like to talk about Donald Trump and
You could just say 5 names.
right, but I have a history.
5 names.
Name 5 items.
Okay, so I'd like Elizabeth Warren, Cory Booker. I agree. I'd like Kamala Harris. I'd like Buttigieg, and I'd like Hickenlooper.
I'm almost the same. I think Castro, Harris, Buttigieg, Booker, and Warren.
Okay, who I think will be at Super Tuesday. I'll say 5. It'll be Biden, Warren, Sanders, Harris, and wild card. I'll say Pete Buttigieg.
Now, you see, you're saying who you think will be there. We are saying who we want
No,
there.
that don't matter, y'all. That don't matter.
That's the question
Cool.
you asked. Rewind the tape. You asked who you
Cool.
want there.
I'm saying those 5 are going to make it to Super Tuesday.
Great.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so closing remarks. I'm going to give you 45 seconds. For your closing remarks. Make sure to keep
Is that a solid 45?
solid 45.
What was that fucking question? Oh my god, no! For you, it's a
Soft
36.
30.
Like, come on.
Here we go. Everybody ready for the... Got what you want to say?
Yeah.
You got 45 seconds on the clock. Adi, you're first.
I'm first.
Ready, and go.
Okay, so again, I am new to the Democrats. I am not necessarily a supporter of all Democratic ideals. There was certain things that I'm really interested in hearing about, which is, of course, Medicare for all, which is not something that I agree with, but I do agree with Medicare for some who cannot afford it. I was really excited to hear about that. I do think that we need a lot of immigration reform, so I'm very excited to hear more about that. I like kind of where they're going with that, which is making us the path easier for asylum seekers. I agree with comprehensive background checks, which I liked from a lot of the different candidates coming through. I, however, do not agree with forcing people to use Medicare. I do not agree with necessarily buying back all assault weapons. And I came out of this.
That is your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Biden.
And she came out of it.
Andrew, you're up next. And go.
Peace, love, and understanding. Let's see. I'm going to say that I think of the candidates, Bernie Sanders is just got to go. He's got to go. He's just too far left. He's not going to beat Donald Trump. And I'm going to go out on a limb, just based on what we know now and my impressions of the debates, which I know it's super, super early, but I'm going to say Elizabeth Warren and her VP will be either Beto O'Rourke or Pete Buttigieg. And we just need to get Donald Trump out of the White House. We just really do. And I want to see a candidate that play it smart and make sure a candidate is up there that the people who don't need to espouse to one party or the other, but just want to vote for a
That's
good
your
person.
time.
can
Thank
vote
you. And Kate, you're up next.
Oh no. Okay.
And go.
Okay. So I mean, I just like watching the debates. This is me always.
I just hope
Happy to
everybody
be
has a
here.
good time.
Happy to be here. No, I can never like name the things I find important, the like policies I find important. But when someone says something that like speaks to my heart, I stick with that person. Like I'm like, oh no, they said the right thing. Good for them. So I just need to hear from a lot more of these people. I really feel like Castro and Booker are underrated at this point, but I feel like they've had some good background and like speak to a demographic that maybe we can help. I think a Warren Booker or Warren Castro ticket would be amazing because that would get like a huge demographic. But
That's your time. Thank you. Mark, you want to make your closing remarks?
Yes, I do.
And go.
My closing remarks. Why can't we all just get along? And I really do want world peace.
She doesn't even go here.
Such as the Iran and such
such
And
as...
I'm
as-
done. I totally stuck within time.
He knows
But-
news.
Okay, cool.
World peace.
Oh, okay.
Fritz, do you have a 30?
I was like, is he having trouble walking? He's stretching. Okay, my turn. So let me just say a really quick announcement to the Democrats. Please get your shit together before you come at us on Super Tuesday. Fucking start impeachment hearings. If you're listening, Nancy Pelosi, do your job. Y'all all got elected in 2016. You're all just sitting on a giant fucking bomb and not doing anything with it. And you're putting these candidates out here to dry.
Pick them up, Mark.
So if you start the proceedings, there's something to talk about at these debates about the hearings, and you're putting Mueller. Mueller is testifying on the 17th of July. That's going to completely change the debate for next time. Democrats need to get their game plan together because we have to defeat Trump. Trump has his base. They're not going anywhere. So Democrats need to get their game plan together. Y'all need to drop out and start working together, the 5 people we want on Super Tuesday.
And have a unified front.
Unified front. All right.
Okay, can I have a rebuttal to that though?
Yes, 10 seconds. Please go.
Okay. One of the issues that I believe, if I understand correctly, with the whole impeachment proceedings is not only wanting to do it, but having solid evidence. You can't just impeach him in the House because then he's got to go to the Senate and be put on trial. And the issue could be that if he's impeached but he wins the election.
Okay. To answer your question, the AG is not giving... There is evidence locked up in a room. We cannot see it. The only way to get that room unlocked is to start impeachment proceedings. There's proceedings, and then there's the impeachment. Donald Trump is not going to get thrown out of office. That's not what we're looking for. The Senate is never going to let that happen.
Yeah.
The loaded court is never going to let that happen. But what is going to happen is we're going to open those boxes of evidence. We're going to lay them out on a table. We're going to hear all this testimony. And it's going to be undeniable for 40%, 60% of the country to say, this guy is or possibly is a crook. Like it would, at the very least, put a little shadow of doubt on Donald Trump, which we need all the fucking help we can get right now.
Donald Trump is Donald Trump, but you need to find a way to get Mitch McConnell out of there. That's the real problem.
That's a whole separate video.
That's the problem. Anyways, so
That's it.
To get Trump out of office, and he's probably going to sit his ass down and say, I'm not
make me
leaving.
move. I'm
Make
not
me.
going.
All right, let's end this video in an hour.
So first of all, thank you for joining us. Those of you that did, please go back and watch this. Like I said, we're going to be doing this different times, so we don't have a specific set schedule. I'm sure they'll get more. Yeah, I'm sure they'll get more frequent as we move into the actual election. But if you have things that you want to discuss, tweet at us, Instagram us, Facebook us. I'm gonna start a Facebook group for this. That's gonna go really well. It's just
Famous last word.
cesspool of humanity is going to be on there. So anyways, if you have opinions, thoughts, just know that we are not here to like shit on you or make you angry.
Unless you like being shit
or,
on.
Or I mean, yeah,
No
that's your
judgment.
thing.
That's your thing. Cool,
we're
cool,
not
cool.
judging.
That's a
but
different channel.
we're right. That's Nights After Dark.
That's
but
real
we
drunk.
are
Real
a group
drunk
of people that constantly talk about this stuff. We all have different opinions, different backgrounds, and we tend to try to be really respectful of each other in spite of the volume you might hear. So please be respectful to us. We will be respectful to you. Be respectful to each other. And let's try and fix this mess that we're all
And register
in.
to vote. Register
to vote.
If you are
Get
not
informed.
registered to vote and do not plan on voting, you don't get to comment.
No, I will block you on everything.
Yeah, so
Blocked.
We won't know that unless they give it up.
I'm
so-
just saying.
We have ways.
We'll
All right,
find out.
Andrew.
We are the Knights of the Drunk Watch.
And now our debate has ended.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. That was great, guys. That was